Welcome to the last episode of the common money mistakes that people make. Over the past 11 weeks, we've been looking at the various money mistakes that people make, the common money mistakes that people make. We've looked at 11 of such common money mistakes, and today we are going to be wrapping it up. Today is the 12th of this episode, and for the fact that we are stopping here does not mean that there are only 12 money mistakes that people make. We are only stopping here. I am certain that if you make further research, you will find much more than these 12 common money mistakes that we have talked about on this channel and on this particular series. So today we are going to look at a very vital and important money mistake. Yes, I know you say you've been saying vital, very important, but trust me, this is the very important one. So I want you to pay attention, because you will learn something new as we round up this topic, this series today. Today we are going to be talking about the mistake of ignoring the spiritual laws of wealth creation. The mistake of ignoring the spiritual laws of wealth creation. You see, I left this particular mistake for last, because when I started this series, I didn't want to come off or sound like a preacher, and I really wanted you to know and to understand that besides these physical laws we've been talking about over the past 11 weeks, that there are spiritual laws as well. And it's important that you be able to strike a balance between these physical laws that we talked about and the mistakes we talked about that has to do with the physical laws, and the spiritual laws that we're talking about today, and the mistakes that people make by ignoring them. You see, I have come to understand one thing in this life, that life itself is spiritual. Life is spiritual. The spiritual realm controls the physical realm, and it would then be unwise of you to ignore the spiritual laws that controls the physical laws and to face or to concentrate only on the physical laws. I learned something very vital that has changed my life and perspective when it comes to finances from my mentor, Joshua Selman. He says something, that the spiritual laws are responsible for attracting finances, and that the physical laws are responsible for the replenishing, the sustenance, and the multiplication of our finances. In the light of this, it would then be a very monumental mistake for you to focus on the spiritual laws at the expense of the physical laws, or to focus on the physical laws and ignore the spiritual laws. Life, like I said, is spiritual, and you can't forge or go far in life when you ignore the spiritual laws, or when you ignore one of these laws at the expense of the other. You must be able to strike a balance. In reality, I have been a victim of this very law, because I remember when I started out in my financial journey, I focused majorly on the spiritual laws, like a lot of believers, should I say a lot of believers out there are actually doing currently. They concentrate on the spiritual laws like tithing, kingdom investments, seed faiths, sacrifices, and all, which truly gives certain level of results. But you see, a lot of people are frustrated because they have observed all these spiritual laws and nothing is changing. Remember what I said, that there are spiritual laws and there are physical laws, and that ignoring any of them is a money mistake. All the 11 topics or series of episodes have concentrated on the physical law. That's why I said that this is the last one, and it has to do with the spiritual law. I have seen believers, I have seen unbelievers, I've seen other people suffer because they neglected either the spiritual law or the physical laws. Another thing I want you to understand is this, that wealth in the kingdom of God is not something you acquire. It is something that you are entrusted with. It as in God trusts you with his resources, and the only way he can do that is if you have been able to succeed in observing the spiritual laws. I have seen believers argue against tithing or about tithing, about seed faith, about prophet offering, about tithes, about so many things when it comes to the spiritual realm, and it baffles me. And I have seen unbelievers to argue against these spiritual laws. I know without doubt that there are charlatans, shenanigans, and a lot of false prophets who have tried to exploit their flock using these spiritual laws, and all they teach them is tithe, give your prophet offering and all. I know that probably this has caused a bias in the mind of a lot of people, whether believers or not. But I want you to take this with you. Irrespective of these flaws, because of the false prophets and the charlatans, I need you to know that the spiritual laws are irrefutable, that the spiritual laws are the foundation for the security of your finances. So if you decide to ignore the spiritual laws because of the flaws from the church and the pastors, I need you to know that you are making a money mistake. As I round up this teaching, remember that there has to be a balance. You must observe both the physical laws and the spiritual laws if you must make progress in your finances. I learned that learning these two has helped my finances tremendously. If it has not worked or it's not working for me, I doubt if I'll have the confidence to come out here and speak to the world at large. This is where we'll wrap it up today, and like I said, this is the last of the common money mistakes that people make. We'll start a fresh series when I come next week. Once again, thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching, and thank you for your time and attention. I'll see you in our next episode.